5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, YouTubers and friends, welcome to another episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live. Tonight we have Mike Pung, the inventor of Gold Cube, the Banjo pen. I'm gonna say it wrong, but the Nugget Box, I think it is, and Nugget Zone, and who knows what else that guy has in that brain of his. Our friend, yeah, I know him personally, met him a few times, great guy, great builder, good prospector, great prospector, whatever. You'll find out, you'll meet him again on his return visit. We'll be right back. Hey, YouTubers and friends, thanks for joining us for another episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live with ToledoJess, Dano, the Treasure Vixens, and I. Thanks for the super chat. Doggone it. Did it again. I thought I had that all right.
Show.
Note to self, never do an update on show night. Never do an update on show night. How you doing, Jesse, Dano, Mrs. Briggs?
Hi, guys. Hello, everybody out there.
Hello, people. Welcome.
Let's say all our chatting here
Well,
while we're at it, saying hello. I see Mr. Lodak, the world's greatest moderator. Mark Miller, how are you tonight?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah. Scotty, Tony.
Brian, I called in. I called in a little early, but you know, it's all right.
He did
Benzo's out there.
Heavy Meadows Detectives.
Mcnicol Mining Company, what's up?
Foot of Booby, what up?
Mike Wolf. David Peterson joined the Flash Fam. Thank you very much.
Oh, good. Yeah, Jeff, Outdoor Influencers here tonight. What up, man?
I saw Exploring with the Nugs with us tonight.
Rote and Bose is in. Chris Neville. Gems and Prospecting Tasmania. What's up, guys? Or people? Versus.
Good morning, Jim.
What's up?
Zoltan, Terry Curry. Hey, Randy, Scotty, Tony. How you doing?
Ron F, what's up, man?
Oh, there's Wayne Nugget Brain Peterson.
How you doing, Wayne?
Wayne, what's up?
Ron F, what's going on, dude?
Benjo.
BMXer Don, how are you?
Did we say hi to
we have a
Mining Co?
Yeah, long time no see, baby girl mining. Hope all is well over in Nevada. Roger James, I see we have our Washingtonians coming in and our friends from down under.
Yeah, I know we missed somebody.
JP Alonzo Moore, Dennis Hedrick.
That's Villa.
Villa. I knew that.
Villa. So you know, sorry. Like Pancho Villa.
I knew it.
Robinson Prospecting, how are you, Eric? It's good
Don't
to
forget that
see you,
thumbs up,
baby girl
people.
mine, and we thought you got lost.
Get that thumbs up going on.
Who's in the chat room? Mike Pung, what's up?
Hey! Outdoor Influence, how are you, Jeff? Ron F, good to see all of you. Good to see all of you.
You bet. So how's your week been going, Ed?
Yes, Santa is a guest, Brian. But we got good Santa tonight and not bad Santa.
He's probably liable to show up. Not that bad Santa is.
Yeah, well, he should. He should, doggone.
Yeah, doggone it.
Republica Dominicana. Dominicana.
Is that Jason's wife?
I don't know.
Don't think so.
Keldon,
Well, no.
Butchered up, Ed.
I'm not even gonna try. I'm not even gonna try.
Ramiro Fernandez Rosario. That's a guy. Sorry. So it's not.
Yeah,
Welcome.
If it was the female, it'd end with an A, right?
Okay.
I don't know. I don't
I'll
know.
go with that.
I need my.
A, though.
Hey, there's Todd right there. Hey, Todd. I went to look for my Patriot Gold Prospecting shirt, and I'm like, where the hell is it? Damn it. I have so many prospecting shirts going through like 3 drawers, going, where is it? And then they reminded me that you have to send it to me. So, hey, Monty. Sorry, I'm kind of late. Had to start up my closing task. Hey, no worry, you're here. Better late than never. Better late than never. The only one we give a hard time to is ERRT Radio.
Can you see him yet?
And
Where
I'm
is it?
pretty sure he's late, guys.
That's
So-
just because we can.
So when ERRT Radio comes in, everybody,
You're late.
why are you late, ERRT?
Yeah.
You know we start at 8 sharp, 99.9% of the time.
Why do we start at 8 sharp? Because that's
Well,
what he requested.
it was Tuesdays over Thursdays.
Hmm.
You know, 3-4 years ago, whenever that was, way back then, playing with it. Oh,
Yeah.
Tuesdays would work for me a lot better. Okay, all yours for you.
8 o'clock.
Believe me, I'll never let you forget it.
There you go. You'll see if he comes in.
Don't mention
No.
Ronald's name. Oh my goodness. Hey, Jonathan friend, how are you, my friend? Oh, nice. Great group of people in tonight. And got a good guest, quite the humorous guy. It's always, I don't think I've ever seen you not smiling, Mike.
It's either something's funny or something that's so painful, all you can do is grit your teeth, right?
That's a smile either way.
Yeah. Looks the same from a distance.
Right.
Right. Oh my goodness. So you were on our first year, I think it was.
It's been a while, yeah.
Hey, pin him up front.
Yeah, I can do that. Oh,
And the controls.
After all, he is the guest.
That's right. He should be up front. There he is.
you're in the spotlight now.
Bam.
It's on like Donkey Kong.
There you
Oh,
go.
cool. Where'd you find that?
Hey, don't you know we're live, Ruby?
Your point is,
You ain't seen her finger in front of the camera yet, have you? because you're about to.
Please don't. This is a family-friendly broadcast.
Show Ruby. She's thinking.
Yeah, JP, that's what you'll look like in 20 years, right there, buddy.
I know if you don't cut it, JP, that's going to be clear down to your ankles by the time you get over.
Yeah, you might be tripping over it. Oh,
Jerry
look
puts it up
who's
under his
late.
hat, puts his hat on.
ERRT Radio, you're a little bit late.
About time, Ronald.
You were
late.
supposed to have been here 14 minutes ago, sir.
Dock him, man, dock
You're
him.
like so in trouble.
You know it.
Oh, good evening, Chris. DGP Outdoors is here.
Oh, cool.
Oh, excellent. Good to see you, Chris Dyer, the Dyer family. Lee Duncan, good to see you. Oh, Pirate Prospecting. How are you doing, Gary?
What's up, Pirate Prospecting?
It's good to see all of you tonight.
We were all just sitting here talking about Mike's beard and was it JP's beard?
Yeah.
And nobody has said anything. None of you three have said anything about mine's gone.
I've been literally looking at you and looking at you
And
just kinda
going,
looking
what's
at you.
different?
Yeah.
It did not
Yeah.
click.
You want
My
to ask if
bad.
he's pregnant.
Yeah, I cut 4 inches off my beard about a month ago.
Miss it?
No, not much. Except when I go into some place and I have to wear a mask, I just flip it up like that.
That's what JP does.
Yeah.
Do they accept that?
No, they laugh. It's just as effective as a mask, in my opinion, because a mask don't work for crap.
No, it don't.
They don't work for that.
Well, I tell people as if you can smell my fart, you're not protected from a germ either. So
I like to go in when I walk into a store, take a hit of my vape through my
your mask.
my
That
thing.
thing?
Yeah, that thing, this thing.
Oh, your gator.
My gator.
Yeah.
I take a hit as I'm walking in and blow the smoke out while I'm walking into the door. This is how effective these masks are.
They're not.
Yeah,
I'm a brat.
yeah. It's kind of crazy that they're making us wear a mask.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk too much about COVID. If you got COVID, it's a rough thing for you and for the people around you. Some people it's rougher, some people it's not so rough. But most of what this is I would consider it more of a plandemic than a pandemic.
I
Thank
have
you.
to agree with you, but
Especially, and we'll try not to get too deep into this.
don't use the word whatever. It
You're
is
not supposed to say it. Yeah. you're not supposed to
it's
say it.
automatic.
Orwellian rules
The
out
crud.
there.
Crud.
Either you wear it or you pay, like Jared said, 10 grand. If you don't wear it, it's a fine. How can they fine you for a suggestion?
Right.
It's mandated in Utah apparently now. So, but I have to agree with Mike. It's more of a pandemic and it's used for control and see how far the people will go.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yep. So it's motivation by fear.
Jason Combe, 1300, where he's at. Wow.
Yeah, he's up in Canada. Hey, Madison, Maine with the Jersey History Hunter Raid. All those dudes rock.
Yeah. Yeah, Jersey.
ToledoJess.
Yeah. So it's it'll be over here before you know it. It'll be over.
Mask makers are making $1
Oh,
billion.
Yeah, these people that got on to making masks right away, in their living room and shit, they made out pretty good.
Oh, it ain't
Paper
just that,
companies,
dude.
Fast food companies,
Hand sanitizer
hand
companies.
sanitizer, yeah. all of them.
Plexiglass companies.
But now I'm seeing these forearm pulls they put on the lever latches. It's you put your forearm in it, open the door.
I
They have
think,
a little-
I
they
think
have a
we
little
needed that
card-
before any of this happened. We needed those. So
They
I like
they have
that.
a little card-shaped one where you put your finger in the hole and it has a hook on it.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
those are
it's in the
fantastic.
pocket.
We don't need to be touching germs anyways. I like those ones.
I enjoy my germs.
I
You got to build your immunity.
I say it's called immunity. It's not
and-
called
and
germs.
walk
It's called
outside without
immunity.
your shoes on.
My
stuff like
germs
that, but
will
I don't
kill
want
your
like
germs.
I don't want people's hand germs on doors. That's gross. That's like flu. That's I don't know, boogers and
Well, you know,
your mouth
don't grab the door, open it, and then go,
and
"Be okay." I mean, I'm just saying. Oh, I stole that line. You know what I mean? I mean, because in the beginning, what was the thing they were saying? You don't get it just because you get it on you. It has to enter you, into you. So that's through any of the many orifices on your body.
Ooh, orifices. That's a big word.
Yeah, let's leave that one alone.
Oh my God.
You know, that's what they say. So, in other words, don't rub your eyes if you just wipe your whatever.
yeah.
You know.
Okay. But okay, in all actuality, guys, as humans, we can't help but touch our face. We can't help it. So you can try your hardest and you can do the best that you can, but you always find, especially if you have a mask on, you always finding a way to touch yourself and get it too close. I like the door handle thing. I think we should keep them forever.
That's fine if that's and I don't have a problem with that, and I'm sure nobody else.
Right.
I'm sure that a lot of people don't have a problem with that. You know.
Yeah.
That's your choice. But again, don't want to be too political. Don't mandate it on me because of your phobia.
Yeah.
I mean, basically all we've
preference.
your preference. Basically, all we've done is given the germaphobes
Fuel.
Fuel.
Credence, yeah.
Hey,
Like I
just
say, all those people in China wore a mask 15 years before this happened, and it went through them like wildfire. So what's the mask actually doing for you?
It's
Nothing.
What about those people that wear burqas? I mean, they've always had something over their face.
Yes.
It's like, and they're dropping too.
You know, it's all about the same thing your mom and dad taught you. Wash your damn hands, keep a little distance between you. Hell, when we were kids, if you got chicken pox, they had a family reunion. Bring them all in and give it all to them so it's over with.
Herd immunity.
Yeah,
Yeah, mumps, everything.
Still feel that
Exactly.
you know it. When they start testing people for antibodies, they're going to find most of us have antibodies already because we've already had it.
Yeah, you can
That's
go get
'cause-
the test right now. Like, I'm curious. I want to know.
Go.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure my husband had it in January. He, everybody talks about that, but he had a terrible cold in January, a terrible cough, few days of like some real fever-like. I mean, every symptom that they talk about, he had in January. So I'd like to see if we have antibodies or not.
I think my wife and I had it long before it hit, like 2 months before it even
Yeah,
was
same-
talked about.
yeah,
November,
Yeah.
January, right?
Yeah, I think even Dennis Staten. Remember when Dennis Staten was going through that bout for a month?
Judy and I think the same thing. February-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing for me. I've been fine.
Yeah, I didn't have
Yeah.
any issues either, but maybe I'm one of the people that just, carried or got the antibodies and, and the only way to find out is get tested
Had
for
no
it.
symptoms.
Yeah.
Asymptomatic.
You'd
Asymptomatic.
be like my daughter, got tested for it. They said she's positive. She quarantined for 14 days, went back, tested negative.
Huh.
Oh yeah, let's not forget that these tests weren't 100% anyways.
No, they don't tell you
Still
that
are
part.
not. They're still
Don't forget
not.
about that. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, the tests are 100 proof. That'll keep you from worrying about it.
There you go. Oh, David Villa said he caught gold fever.
Yeah,
see what-
that's
see what
quite a
Blue
contagious
Prospecting
virus right there.
See what
Right.
Blue Fan Prospecting saying in the chat there right now? He knows it.
Something important happening?
That's my phone.
No difference whatsoever.
Yeah, the queen is entering.
Put
That
all
was
your
the card.
turn all your notifications off, Dano.
Usually people don't call me, so you know.
Yeah, usually you hear geese.
Yeah, I usually hear the quack of the duck because someone's texting me.
Right, right.
Right, JP. Gold fever is more contagious. Well, no,
It is. And there is no cure.
it's very contagious. The bit is very contagious. It's contagious. You can't deny that. It's just not the it's not as bad as what the media says it is. It's not. It's a media-induced hysteria.
Panic, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they started out saying like 1 out of 10 people are gonna die. Yeah, right. Now it's less than 0.001%. You know,
Right, it's
so
only
crazy.
like you have 99.8% a chance of recovering fine.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's ridiculous. It's Big Brother trying to see how far they can push.
Yep.
Either wing, I don't care what damn wing you're in.
This is only a test.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna see what we can do next time when something else comes up.
Yeah. Well, pirate prospecting, I'm happy to hear that. No vaccine for gold fever.
That's
That
right. There's no vaccine whatsoever.
No.
You can relieve the symptoms by getting so tired lifting rocks and buckets, but you can't get rid of it.
No, absolutely. It's there. Once you get it, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, here in Oklahoma, we don't have a whole lot of gold here. I think there's like 7 pieces, and I got like 5 of them. But lately, what I've been doing, I just been working in the my gold room. One of my houses is a gold room. I got like 4 houses, and hey, you know, why figure out what you're gonna do in your house when you can just go to a different house and do all you want? So, but yeah, that's the only way that I could hijack the kitchen, you know, for the water and everything, is just get another house. But I'm in there with you know, tons of material from all over the world. I get people sending me material to analyze to see what would be the best way to process it. You know, whether it's with water, with chemicals, you know, whatever. So I've been scratching my itch from the fever with vicariously through other people's dirt.
Well, that's cool. At least you got something to play with.
Right.
Yeah. We got some material that came in that in a gallon of material there was 3 ounces of gold in it.
Wow.
And the guy said, well, there's probably a gram or 2 in there. And I said, a gram or 2? I said, there's about 3 ounces. And he goes, ho, I don't think so. Like, I'll send it back to you so you can see it. He says, no, just keep it.
Oh.
It's like, deal.
Yeah. Here, give him my address.
Yeah, no kidding. You know, the worst part about doing other people's material, though, the worst part about it is when they give you some material, they're convinced they're rich, they got all kinds of stuff, and it's gold colored pyrite or mica or something that's just not gold. And you just got to break it to them hard, because they're not going to, if you're just being nice about it, they're going to think you're trying to talk them out of material or their gold. But you got to break it to them, you know. It's not, you're telling me this stuff won't sink and you can't pan it. Well, it won't sink because it's not heavy, and it's not heavy because it's not gold. You know, gold only acts like gold. So,
you know, I think I know when I first started, I mistook sparkly for shiny. You know, there being a difference.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, sparkly, that's usually your mica, but shiny is a different look.
Yeah,
And some people,
yeah, a lot of the
Go ahead.
shiny happens because of reflection, and the reflection creates the color, and that's why they say, you know, put it in shadow. When you set it underneath a shadow, then if the color goes away, then it's not the color of gold; it's the color of the reflection.
Right.
So that's why that's why that works so well by putting it in the shadow. But the
some people never get it.
no,
You
no,
know,
I tell you, the hardest people to convince that they don't have real gold are the people that have been locked out of dredging because of the eco Nazis and all the money they got going to the government.
Right.
But they get locked out of dredging, and now they got to do, you know, something else, whether it's a sluice box or a high banker or just panning, whatever the case may be. They're doing something else that's not allowing that glitter to get washed away. Where in the dredging area, the glitter gets gone. And now they've got, now it's in their material, so they think they're catching really fine gold, and that's just not the case. And it's hard to convince them of that.
Right. I actually don't try to convince people. What I tell them is, look, the best, especially some of these people online, I just said, look, the best thing you can do is find a local gold club, join them for a year, learn all you can in that year. And if you enjoy being with them, you know, stay with them, whatever, but join a club. Even if it's just to learn at first, it gives you,
yeah, I tell all the new people that. In fact, I'm the president of the GPAA club here in Oklahoma. And any of the new people that come in, you know, there's no cost to be part of the GPAA local club. There's no cost. There's a cost to be a voting member. You got to be part of the GPAA, so there's an annual cost, you know, around $100 or whatever.
I think it's 139. So I looked that up after I made my video about clubs and prospecting for the greenhorn. I said somewhere around 100, but it's
I had heard it had gone over $100, but so I just rounded it.
right.
But the bottom line is, to be part of an organization, a part of a club in the GPAA, there are no dues. In order to be a voting member, then you have to be a GPAA active member, and that membership is 139, and renewal is a little less than that, but a brand new member is 139, whatever. But that's exactly the advice that I give a new person. They say, what do I need to buy? What do I need to buy? Nothing. Don't buy anything except a pan. And if you join GPAA, you get a pan in your kit. You need to learn how to pan. You need to go out with a club. You need to understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, and start trying it yourself. If they've got equipment, put in some elbow grease into there, put in some time, and see if that's the type of equipment you want. Or maybe you don't want to be splashing around in the mud, and all you want to do is metal detect. Those are the things you need to find out before you spend money.
Yep.
So a club is a fantastic advice.
Oh yeah, and no need to go out and when me and Daryl Grimbley had Paystreak Enterprises in Washington, Mike, there'd be people come in like, I want to buy a dredge. Well, how long have you been prospecting? Oh, I just started. I found little gold up, blah blah. You know, whatever creek it was. I know I can get rich, and I'm like, whoa. Why don't you just work with your pants? How about the sluice? Here's a really nice sluice box if you want to go in more. And they're like, no, order it. And so, okay. And then
there's a lot of guys out there. they'll ask, can I make a living with gold prospecting? And I said, well, sure, anybody can make a living with it, but you're going to have to lower your standard of living. And, you know, things like fuel for your vehicle or a vehicle itself, or even cell phone service, that might be a little out of your budget, but you could live on just gold.
It'd be a lot of hard work, you know.
Right.
Right. You know, spend all day working. And it's
Hard
not-
work or real freaking lucky.
You know,
I think in the I've been mining for 13 years now. I was just thinking about that, and in those 13 years, I've probably had 4 days that paid for the trip. Okay, there's only 4 trips that had a day that had enough gold to pay for where I was.
Right.
So all those other times that I've been out, those trips didn't pay for themselves. I mean, if it's going to be a business, you've got to make it pay for itself. If it's going to be fun, then like a hobby, I mean, hobbies cost money. You just have to understand that. You're not out to make money. You're out to have
Hobby?
fun.
Right.
And if
I would never think I'd hear that coming from your mouth.
why not?
It's a lifestyle, Mike. It's a lifestyle. It ain't no flipping hobby. It's a lifestyle.
There's a lot of different levels. There's people that all they want to do is order pay dirt and pan it. Is that much of a
yeah.
lifestyle?
No, that's a armchair prospector.
Okay, and then you've got the guy that goes out once or twice a year and goes out and has fun. So is that a lifestyle or is that a hobby?
No, yeah, okay.
You see what I'm saying? There's different levels of doing it. If your
Yeah.
intention is to make money, you better be serious and go after it like you want to make money.
I guess I kind of have like a Shannon Poe mentality with it.
Sure. Yeah, once
Being from the West, you know, I've
Sure.
had claims in Washington and Northern California and
yeah, I didn't use the R word. I didn't say recreation, but honestly,
right.
okay, think about this. And I've told Shannon and I've told other people this. Where does a big league baseball player get started?
The minor league.
What about before that?
High
Backyard
school,
with friends. Yeah.
elementary school, the
Oh,
street.
They take a lawnmower out in the field next door and make some bases and throw some hubcaps down, and they just go have fun.
Right.
But then they find out that there's something more to it and they want to advance, or they find out there's nothing more to it and they don't want to advance and they go into chicken raising or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's no matter what, has got an entry level. And if you disrespect or disregard the entry level, you've lost everything else. So when people are saying mining is a right, it is not a privilege, and that is true. It is a right that was granted by the federal government, and we're
Yeah.
protected as miners in those areas that we mine as a right. But
Right.
what about the people who want to have fun? Go to Knoxbury Farm. It's not a right to go pan. Hell no, you got to go pay for that bag.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
A
so
bag, it
you-
ain't even a bag. You scoop one pan in the
Yeah,
dirt.
yeah.
And
So you can't just say it's all one and not the other, because as soon as you do that, you're casting away the entry level, and we are not
okay.
getting younger. We have to have new people coming in to replace us.
True.
And if
You
we're
have
knocking-
some. Go
And
ahead,
if
Mike.
you're knocking their feet out from underneath them from the beginning and throwing mining rights and all this stuff, and say they can't have fun, they can't recreate, they can't have a hobby, they can't just go play, then you're discouraging the entry level. You're discouraging a very large group of people that could help the industry of mining.
Right. I see your points, and
And
the
about
way
it,
I figure the way Shannon and a lot of Westerners use it, it's a play on words.
I think Shannon,
Yeah.
I think Shannon uses it as a legal term.
It is.
More-
It's
Yeah, more than anything else.
because
I
in
think
the courts of
it's a legal term
California,
of the laws.
in the courts of California, Jesse, recreational miners don't have the same rights under the 1872 Mining Act as
Well,
small
that's
scale
and that's so
miners.
simple in the courts to separate. You can just say someone said, "Well, recreational mining out." It was like, wait a minute, we're here for the federal mining laws. We're here for the laws that pertain to miners, small scale, large scale. We're talking about miners. We're not talking about people on the playground. So get your book straight and let's talk about what we're here to talk about. So they can not use the recreational mining as a bad term. They can keep it as something that's not what they're talking about.
Right.
Okay? And as soon as they do that, any of the fire, any of the power that our opponents are trying to throw at us by saying the word recreational, then is totally disregarded. It totally disarms that word, and they can feel foolish on their camp, not on our camp, because we know what we're talking about, and they need to come up to speed, not us.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
So I just refer myself as a prospector, a small scale miner, and as a lifestyle because, like David says, prospecting is like owning horses. You may not ride them every day, but you feed them every day.
Right, right. Well, it's just like prospecting and mining. Okay, every prospector is not going to be a miner, but every miner is going to be a prospector.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so that again, are you having fun or are you doing it for a living? And you got to make that choice. And those are the rules that you have to follow.
Well, I have fun, but I want to try and break as even as possible every time I'm out.
Hey, I have fun every time I go out mining, and I consider myself more of a miner than recreation. I'm more than a hobby. When I go out there, even though I'm not a successful miner every time I go out,
who is?
I work as if I'm going to be.
Even the big dogs, true. Even the big dogs have their very lean days.
Yeah, mining is nothing more than cutting a big hole and throwing all your money in it.
Right. Oh, that has more truth to it than anyone knows, huh?
Right.
Reg out another 1,000.
That's right. Yeah, if you want to make $1 million in mining, start with 2 million.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of cliche terms out there, but yeah, I have fun with the mining politics. I don't say I have not a whole lot of fun. I mean, I don't get real deep into it. I'm not up front, but just like what we're just talking about right here, the things that people think about and the way that they think about us, if they can think about us more as a friendly group instead of we're out to kill somebody who calls us anything but a miner.
Right.
I've included a lot of people that were in opposition of mining in on what I'm doing as a friendly gesture. Come here, let me show you what I'm doing. And people love it. They said, well, I didn't think it was this. That's not what they told us. I mean, we are the stewards.
They picture something like someone with a big monitor blasting down the mountain or totally raping it like a large scale operation.
Oh yeah, and we're using 17,000 gallons of mercury to leach it out of the ground. Or whatever. There's a ton of. So we are the stewards of our profession. We are the stewards that have to go out and make sure that misinformation is cleaned up, and the best way to clean up misinformation is by example. So as long as you don't go out there and just be an a-hole about everything and pound your fist and say it's all right, and include them in and give them knowledge, give them acceptance, then they'll accept us back. So I just ripped my earbuds out. Wasn't that
dropped your phone?
I hate it when I do that.
That's one of the reasons why we like to go do Boy Scouts, teach them how to pan, do demonstrations. And people, because that's where the future is. And
Absolutely.
and one of the biggest things that we talk about is the garbage that we pull, and how what you see on TV as far as the mining shows, how they don't tell you the whole story and what all is involved in what they're doing. They just show you the guys ripping up the ground and tearing it all up, digging holes all over the place, making a mess, moving all kinds of dirt, opening big swaths of land, but they don't show the reclamation involved. And
Well, they've done that. They've done that a couple of times. I've seen a couple of shows, and now on Bering Sea, I wish more people could have been with me when I was with Steve Pomrenke. We finished the cleanup at Steve Pomrenke's shack, and he says, "Well, let's let's go fill the cooler with beer, and let me show you around where I've been mining." So we're just drinking and driving. But so we went around, and he showed me all the sites that he's been mining since he's been in the Nome area. And then he showed me some awards from the city where his reclamation went above and beyond what was expected. Some of his reclaimed areas have turned into a park. Some have turned into neighborhoods. Some of the places he says, you see that right over there? There was a 180-foot hole right there, and I was like, really? It's just nothing but tundra. I mean, it is back to nature again. It is amazing the reclamation that those guys do, and it was.
Oh yeah.
And it was fun. We got into some places with his pickup that he ripped off the front license plate of his wife's truck, and then the next day I found it and took it back out before she found it.
Funny. 1 second, I'd like to thank a couple people for super chats. Madison, Maine. Oh yeah, super chat. Thank you for the super chat. We also have Heavy Meadow Detectives. Thank you for the $5 super chat.
Thank you. So yeah, so that's one of the things that we stress with the young generation, the kids, that what they see on TV is not all there is. There is reclamation. There's getting getting it back to where it was.
Right.
You guys have to pay for that. They pay for that. That's all part of the work,
Yeah, most of that's a bond that they have to put up at the beginning, and they get their bond back once the reclamation's finished.
Right. Yes, but they pay for it. I mean, it's upfront money.
Right. That's part of that. That's part of that first million.
Right. Yep, that's that first million. Then of course then comes the rest of the stuff. Hey, what's up, Thomas folks?
Lucky Ducky Thomas folks, how are you, buddy? Now Mike, you stay with the Pomrankes while you're up there, or do you have your own little bungalow?
Well, I've stayed 2 different places. I've stayed at the Pomrankes, one project I was doing up there. I stayed with them for 18 days. And the other times I go up there, I go with the AKAU Lodge. And
okay. I've heard some good things about that place.
It's an amazing place. They've got ATV rentals. They've got dredging. They've got metal detecting. They've got high banking. They've got this big. They call it the slick plate, but they just take a front end loader and they dump it onto the top of this slick plate, and you just hydraulic. You dissolve all of that material off of there down into a grizzly, down into a sluice box, and then you get your gold out. So it's there's all kinds of stuff. The muskox through there, the blueberries, the metal detecting. I mean, it is such an amazing thing, and they've got trips going everywhere all the time. We took a 26-mile trip back to these old waterfall bucket line dredge way back in there that it just took forever to get back in there, but the trip was amazing. There's river crossings and all kinds of crap. But there's always something going on, and if you want to be part of it, you're part of it. If you want to just stay behind and play with dirt, then stay behind and play with dirt. but there's something for everybody.
Cool.
There's a little fox that comes in and like fishing. We got fish heads and all the stuff that we feed them to the fox. And once in a while, if we got something left over from supper, we'll feed those to the fox. And the fishing up there is amazing, absolutely amazing. The silvers, the reds, the kings. I mean, there's so much fish going on. Inland. I didn't get a chance to do it this year because the water was a little bit low, but they have northern pike. They got a small northern pike is like 30 inches. They got 40, 50, 60-inch northern pike. Amazing. So that's, so those are the types of things that are available up there. But
Now, what's an out-of-state fishing license there? How much?
I don't know. Generally, I don't fish, so I haven't bought a license. Now, if the rivers would have been high enough to get the boats back where we wanted to go for the pike, then I would have found out. But since the rivers were low when I was there, I didn't go in and do any pike fishing. So maybe some year I'll be able to get the pike fishing. But if you go on I think AlaskaGold.com or something like that. I can't remember what it is. But anyway, they've got a lot of pictures on there, and some of the pike that they show on there, they're just amazing. And pike are like a freshwater shark. I mean, they got 7 rows of teeth, and they're all pointed to their stomach. So,
Bad Bob has a question. Hey Mike, Aq Creek or Gold King Creek, which do you prefer?
okay, the AKAU, if you want access to civilization, you can go into Nome, and there's restaurants, there's the beach walking, there's grocery stores, gas stations. I mean, if you want the ability to get someplace to buy something, if you can't get away from that, then it's AKAU Lodge because it's all available right there.
Yeah,
You've got, 3 miles out of town, and civilization says we're behind you, and then you're off into the wild.
right.
All that's right there at AKAU. They've got a great lodge. They've got great bedding facilities. Everything there is amazing. The people are amazing. But AKAU, unlike, Gold King Creek, unlike AKAU, the only way to get into Gold King Creek was just to fly in. Now, I know Kib Cannon, he's the owner of that. They're talking about cutting the road. It's a 52-mile road across tundra and all that stuff. They're talking about cutting the tundra to be able to get to drive in there. It's going to help with their fuel supply and all this other stuff. But it would take all of a day to go 52 miles otherwise. So once they got the road cut in there, then you won't have to fly in. But every time that I've been there, we've had to fly in. And so fly in, fly out, and then when you're in there, you're in there. There's if you need something special, you gotta wait till the next airplane comes in if you ask for it before the airplane takes off. But it's the gold, just the raw native gold there in Gold King Creek is bigger than the raw gold there at AKAU. AKAU, the nuggets are bigger than what we found at Gold King Creek, but we found, as far as the weight of gold, you'll probably get more weight in gold at Gold King Creek than you will at AKAU, unless you get into a really good pocket and you really work your tail off. But some people, when they go to these places, they want to go in and I want to get gold. I want to get gold. I want to have enough gold to pay for my trip. This cost me thousands of dollars, yada, yada, yada. If you're so focused on the gold, you're going to miss a lot of other stuff. you're going to miss some of the history in the area. You're going to miss some of the old sites. You're going to miss nature. You're going to miss adventures. You're going to miss a lot if you got your head down just looking for gold. So be able to afford wherever you're going to go, whether it's Gold King Creek or AKAU, be able to afford it first and then make the gold a bonus, because you may get enough to pay for your trip. I mean, I did this year, but that doesn't always happen, and don't plan on it happening. And if it doesn't happen, don't think it's a failure. Now, if dredging is your thing, the dredge camp up by Chicken, Alaska, it's north of Chicken, Alaska on the 40-mile, South Fork of the 40-mile. Matt and Ginger Fontes has the Gold Fever prospecting adventures up there. And the only way you can get into there is by a hovercraft. So they take a hovercraft up the river 26 miles, and then you're sleeping in a hooch, a plastic roof. You got plywood sides. I mean, you're sleeping in a hooch, and everybody comes together to one place to eat, like they do on all the camps.
I hear
But
it's fairly comfortable there. I think Shad and Kathleen been there a couple of times.
Yeah, it is very comfortable, and you feel so much like you're part of the family. In fact, every single place that I've gone to, AKAU, Gold King Creek, and the Gold Fever up there with Matt and Ginger, everybody makes you feel so welcome. It is just amazing. Now, last year at the Gold Fever camp, I got there the day before my birthday. I got there September 11th. So we were the last group that was there for the year. We were looking out over the river, and here comes this big moose. One of the guys in our group had a moose tag, and Matt says, "You got a tag, right?" He goes, "Yeah." He says, "You want this moose?" And he goes, "You're going to be able to get it out on your boat?" And he goes, "No problem." Bang. So we opened it up that night, and then the next day we went out there and dressed it out and put the meat in game bags and everything. So here I am just tearing into this monster meat producing moose on my birthday. Happy birthday to me. That's the first birthday I've been up to my elbows in blood. Oh my God, we had moose, everything from moose omelets to moose steaks to everything for the rest of the time that we were there. Oh yeah, yeah. And yeah, it was amazing. We had 9 game bags full of meat. The rack was 57.5 inches wide. Big moose, probably about 1,300 pound on the hoof. So it was quite an adventure. And we got yeah, I know it. Nothing up my sleeve. Hey, Rocky. But the gold dredging there was amazing. Fine gold and some chunkier gold. I did some metal detecting while I was there, but I didn't find any nuggets. So don't plan on nuggets when you get to the Gold Fever camp. But do plan on a lot of fine gold, and there's a lot of it there, and they will put you on a dredge and put you on some gold. And the harder you work, the luckier you get.
That's pretty much any time with prospecting or our size of mine or a small scale mining. The more sweat equity you put into it, the more material you move, or the better quality of material you move, the chances of having better gold recovery.
Well, and it all goes down to prospecting too. I mean, prospecting is looking for gold, mining is getting it. Okay.
Right, right.
So like when I'm doing my seminars at the GPAA shows, I one of the things that I tell people, I got tons of rules that I try to teach them, but one of the rules is when you get to a new place, spend 10% of the time you have available just looking for gold, because you may find 4 pieces of gold in your first pan. You figure, hey, this is going to be a great day. I've never done this good, but I look around for 10% of my time. So if I'm going to be there a day, I figure 10 hours, I'm going to look for gold for an hour before I even get any piece of equipment out.
Well,
And,
yeah, you just don't want to throw it there and not do any sampling at all.
Right, exactly. You have to sample, and you got to sample, like I said, 10% of your time, because this one particular place up in Rye, Arizona, I got 4 pieces of gold in one pan, and I figured, hey, you know, that's probably the best pan I've ever had. I was just, you know, new to the game, but I had heard someone say, make sure you prospect, and I just came up with 10%, and I said, by golly, I'm going to follow that rule. I made the rule, I'm going to follow it. So I went around and I got skunked a couple of pans, and then I found a pan that had 20 pieces of gold in it. I was like, holy crap. So, but I was only about 20 minutes into my hour, and I said, well, I'm going to keep looking. So I put a bunch of markers where that place was, and I kept looking, and I found a place that had 60 pieces of gold in one pan. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. And I still had time left. So I said, I'm just going to keep looking. And so I went, instead of going up the river, then I started going down the river because I was starting to get a little too far away from the refrigerator. And so I actually found a place that had over 200 pieces of gold in the pan. Now, just because you're finding gold doesn't mean you just get to work. You just, you know, take your dump truck of all the material that you pulled out of your shed and throw it in there. What you have to do is you have to analyze what you just found. If you found just about any piece of machinery is going to work. If you found really fine gold and it's more three-dimensional, then again, just about any piece is going to work, but you're going to have to slow down a little bit. If you get into some gold that's small and flat and it wants to kite, then use the gold cube. No, use your machine that you've got, whether it's a sluice box or a cube or a high banker or whatever. Use that machine knowing that that gold is going to migrate because it's going to kite, and do more often cleanups in order to eliminate or start fresh your gold back at the top of the of your machine. So your prospecting is not just finding the gold. Your prospecting is also going to tell you how you're going to treat the gold that you found to get maximum collection.
Okay, I'm back.
Did you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, all right. I was wondering, it's like, do I got to repeat all that?
Hope you wrote it
we
down.
were just letting your fine gold recovery knowledge and your knowledge sink in. 10% of your time, that ain't a bad rule, though.
I like that rule as well. I think it's very great advice.
Now, if you're going to be there like 5 days, split your 10% for that day, because you may be at the end of the day, like prospecting is not just at the beginning of the day. Okay. When anything changes in the hole, let's say you're starting to dig down. A lot of people think the deeper the hole, the bigger the gold. Kind of, yes. If you're getting close to the bottom of where everything is, that's true. But if the bottom is 36 feet down, you're not going to get that deep.
No.
So
Then you have to look for layers.
You're going to have to look for layers. And a lot of times that layer is usually within the first 10 inches. And so when you get a change in the size of the gravel, the change in the color of the gravel, you get a change, sample the change. Always keep sampling, because you may go 5 feet farther than you need to go thinking that you're going to strike it rich, and you've just wasted all your time. You could have, dug the same size hole 4 times to the right but got 4 times more gold, because you're still in that first area, or the pay area that you found the gold in the first place. So make sure you don't just quit sampling and you're going nuts on just trying to get as deep as you can, because the gold may have outrun you from a million years ago, but for the last 100 years, that's all within your first 10 inches or so. focus on what you can get to in the time that you have allowed. If you've got an excavator, don't go on that first 10 inches. You're going to go down where the big stuff is. Okay.
Right.
But so that panning, the most important thing anybody can do is learn how to pan. You have to learn how to pan, because as you've heard a million times, all mining starts with a pan and ends with a pan. But you're using the pan all the time during your working to make sure that you haven't gone too far, or if you need to keep going farther to increase your gold pull. So the pan is your friend. Make sure you learn how to use it.
Oh yeah.
ToledoJess, I feel like we got an echo in the room.
Oh
You get an
yeah.
echo from me.
Oh,
Don't have
I'm
an
so
echo here.
sorry. ToledoJess always says, practice your panning, practice your panning.
Learn your
practice your panning."
tools.
Oh, okay, gotcha,
Practice,
gotcha.
practice.
And I
Right.
always use the term, it begins
That-
with a pan and it ends with a pan.
That's right. That's right.
I missed the cue, Rose. I just had, I don't know, for some reason, all my internet in the house just died. That's
Well,
what
you're back
happened.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got back. I was gone for a little while. I missed most of that story, so
It was
I
Well,
have to listen to it over again. That's all
a lot
right.
of information, a lot of
I'm
a lot,
sure.
a lot of education.
I'm sure. Oh, he did make it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that prospecting with a pan is good, and then there's a lot of people out there that will do, like, if you're getting into some bigger stuff, if you're going to be a small scale miner or a medium or large scale miner, you've got to have ways to test. Like if you're a big guy, then you're going to go, let's do 1,000-yard test. there's some people who won't go through 1,000 yards in their lifetime.
No kidding.
But I like using a 4-bucket test, and that will tell me how much gold is in a yard.
Right.
And a 4-bucket test, there's a little over 40 5-gallon buckets in a cubic yard.
So is that, well, let me ask you first, is that a classified bucket or just a raw bucket dug in?
Raw bucket.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you're dealing with what you're going to be shoveling, what you're starting
Right.
with.
Okay.
Okay. Like if you're on, like, say if you're on a beach or something like that, that's raw and classified. That's all there is. But if you're dealing with big, heavy gravels, and let's say only 25% is going through a 1/2 inch, then that's going to be the you'll be able to use those numbers to figure, is this ground that I have available to me going to produce in a way I want it to produce. So I use a 4-bucket test because there's about 40 buckets in a cubic yard. So whatever my results are in a 4-bucket test, I just multiply it by 10. I just add a 0, and that way it tells me how much gold I have per yard, and that's always been a real good thing to do. Now, if you've got a big pile that you're working, let's say you come up on an old tailing pile or something like that, don't look for the best looking stuff. Figure out how many steps there are around your pile. Figure out every 3 paces I'm going to take a sample. One of the best ways of taking a sample of a tailing pile or what they call a working pile, because not all piles out there are tailing piles. Some of them are working piles. This is what they worked to get to where they were going. So there may or may not be ore in there, and if there is ore, it was weak enough that they didn't feel it was good enough to set up and run it, so they just keep going. But sometimes there's some good stuff in there. So when you do random sampling of a pile all around the outside, I actually like using a pipe. I'll drive a 4 or 5 foot pipe into a side of a pile and pull it out. It's kind of like a core sample, and then dump that pipe into a bucket, because that's going to get a sample inside the pile that nobody else has been in, and it's also going to get you past any dirt erosion and concentrating that may increase your value expectancy on the outside of the pile, but that won't happen on the inside of the pile. So you'll get a more realistic idea of what's going on inside the pile. And if you want to deal with it, or it's like, well, it looks like fun, but it's going to be more work than it's worth. I mean, you need to figure that out. So random sampling is the best way to do those 4-bucket tests. So don't just go for the hot streaks. Don't high grade it, because you're kicking yourself in the butt when you do that. You're not going to get the results at the end of the day that you put down on a piece of paper when you're doing your gazintas and making your decision to work that area or pile. So be as random as possible.
Hear that, everybody? Listen to this wise man. Blue-footed booby asks, Mike, ever toyed with the idea of making a smaller version of the gold cube?
Yes, I have. We've talked about it a couple times in the past. I've had the idea for a long time. In fact, I just brought it up to good friend and co-worker here, Cash Best. Brought it up to him the other day that I really need to get the smaller version out, and I've got some drawings, I've got some plans built up. I just it hadn't come high enough to the top to make me want to jump. It'll fit inside of a bucket, and I actually call it a bucket cube. And the bucket itself becomes the stand, and so there's it's going to have its own classifier on top and everything. I mean, it's just basically a sampling cube, and the mats are actually removable in it. So that's the drawing, but it hasn't come to real life yet.
Oh, cool. I'd be willing to test it for you.
Well, I'm going to need some beta testers.
There you go. You can sign me up.
Yeah, then you.
My address.
Yeah, and then then I'll get people throwing dream mats in it, and miracle mats, and soft tooth mats, and everybody want to put all their different mats in it, and it'll be easy to do because the mats will slide in and out from the side. So
and you know how we are, Mike. All of us, we're all tinkerers to one degree or another. So,
I call us all garage monkeys.
No, there you go. Yeah. I can definitely relate to that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, just like the banjo pan. I think it was funny when people started using the banjo pan as a little cleanup sluice. I think Ed, you were the very first one that ever did that.
Well, I did that during beta test because by the time I got it, it was bad winter here that year, and like my areas were like all frozen, and it's 41 below, and I'm like, well, here I am in my shop. And doing the drawer motion with it, you know, I'd be getting water. Yeah, you're gonna get wet, as our buddy Jeff would say, but
I talked to him this morning.
He's a great guy.
I think I woke him up. He was pretty groggy.
But yeah, it works great. I love it as a cleanup sluice in the shed, a small recirculating system.
Right. Well, there's I've seen some people that have used 2 or 3 of them in a row, the zigzag back and forth like a sluice does, and
David,
or like a zigzag sluice or a gold cube or whatever, and you know, I've seen them do that. And when you use them that way, then other mats work pretty good. But if you use it the way it was designed, with that you know, the open and closing the drawer, the sock drawer,
right?
If you use it like that, then you've got to have a mat that's got side-to-side catch as well as up and down catch. So the Vortex mat is probably the best you can put in there if you're going to use it as a pan. Now, if you use it as a sluice box, then other stuff is going to be is going to be usable as well. But the thing that I really like to do with the banjo pan is I've got a video out there called production mode banjo pan. All right. So basically, what production mode is, and if you go to our website goldcube.net and you go into the videos and you look at the banjo pan videos and see the production panning, we were just messing around making the video, but afterwards I timed how long it took me to go through one pan to the next. And in most cases, it was about 10 seconds from one pan to the next. So production mode is you take and you fill up a bucket with water, and somebody's got a shovel and the other guy's got the banjo pan until he gets tired. Then you switch out. But you take and you just forwards and backwards with the banjo pan, and as you're forwards and backwards, then you tip as you're doing it. So you just keep moving, and then all the concentrates, there's got a little drop zone in there for your nuggets, and then the concentrates, the fine gold, since everything is being shook and elutriated, the gold's going to stick into the mat. And that's why like a regular mat don't work, because all you're doing is shifting back and forth until you lose everything. So you got to have the lateral as well as the vertical.
Right.
So anyway, so once you've got it down to concentrates, you just grab a hold of the pan part of the banjo pan and stab the sluice box part of it into a bucket, swirl it around like you're just doing your laundry, and just get it all cleaned out in a couple of seconds, and you just pull it right back out without removing the mat. You leave the mat right in there, and you got another shovel load. I mean, I can go through a whole bucket in less than 2 minutes. All right. And the accuracy is like high 90s as long as you feel comfortable about what you're doing. I mean, you can't, if you slow down with it, then the material is going to lock up. If your material locks up, then you're going to pour your gold off the top. It's like
Right.
panning.
Right.
If your material's not loosened up, if it's not elutriated, the gold's not going to act heavy and go down. So you got to make sure you're aggressive with it. And yeah, you're going to get wet. But that's the joy of it is you're going to be going through a lot of material. Think about these parks and places that they don't allow you to have a sluice box. They don't allow you to have battery operated stuff. They don't allow
Right.
any of this
Hands
stuff.
and pans only.
Hands and pans. That's right. So you got one guy with a banjo pan and a bucket, and you've got another guy giving you dirt. And so you're shaking it, making concentrate, putting it in a bucket. And you're doing that every 10 seconds. How much good concentrates do you think you're bringing home that way? Now, if you just use a regular pan and you're getting it down to gold and then you snuffer up your gold, you've probably wasted, if you're really good, you've probably put about 30 to 45 seconds in there. If you're really good, most people, it's going to take them from 2 minutes to 10 minutes to get down to the point where they can snuffer up gold. You're burning daylight, you're not going through the material, and you're not going to have as much gold as you could potentially have if you're able to accurately rip through that material. So the banjo pan, exactly the way it is stock, not using it like a sluice box.
Right, I follow you.
Yeah, using it stock. You're gonna be able to go out and prospect and have that in your pan. You can go through, like, I want to do I want to see how much gold's in a bucket. Well, 2 minutes later, you got your answer, and you bring it all down into concentrates, and then you probably will have another pan with you, or you can use the banjo pan. I mean, it still does pan like a regular pan. It's just a bigger pan is better. I mean, you got to use the right tool for the job.
Right.
And in this case, the banjo pan for making concentrates is going to be the best way for you to come out of an area that you can't use regular equipment with. You're going to come out of there with more concentrates and more gold in less time. So right tool for the right job.
I've kind of used it the same way like that. And I've seen the video where you talked about the production mode, you know. So, and if anyone wants to watch a real good fine gold recovery, videos at goldcube.net. There's a good, what is it, Small Gold University or Fine Gold
Yeah,
Recovery University.
Right. Go
or something.
into the video section and go to Gold Cube University, and in Gold Cube University, you're going to see a one is the Fine Gold Challenge.
Okay.
So in the Fine Gold Challenge, I show you a lot of concepts. I show you magnetic sand removal. I show you certain things you can do with a snuffer bottle to help you out, some little snuffer etiquette. I explain how to break down your material into like sizes. It's another thing I tell people in my seminars. I says it's the golden rule. Everybody know what the golden rule is, and they go, "Oh, do unto others." No, the other one. The golden rule is if everything in your pan is the same size, then gold rules. So you got to classify down to the point where your material is so close to the same size that the largest piece of garbage is lighter than your smallest piece of gold, and then gold wins. So you don't have to
Right.
worry about more pressure taking your garbage out of the way that you could flush your gold out.
And
So
like
that's the importance.
I've heard you say it 100 times, if not more. Classification is the key to fine gold recovery.
Absolutely. Yeah, because when I classify all the way down to minus 400, I can pan 400 down to 1,000 mesh and get a big line that you couldn't even see any gold that was in there. So it's all has to do. Gold is gold. It has a certain weight.
Right.
And if it's not fighting something bigger and heavier, then it wins. So 400 mesh pans out just like nuggets do. You just got to make sure you prepare your material right first.
Preparation. So you've been going to Nome, back to Nome.
Yeah, it's hard to give up that place.
You've been going there now for quite a few seasons.
Yeah, I go there at least once a year and sometimes twice.
How long have you been doing that now?
About 6 years. My first time to Alaska was in 2007, and it took me 10 years to make it back there. But let's see. No, it was less than 10 years.
Them trips ain't cheap.
No, they're not.
They're not cheap.
But most of the time I drive. I drive. I sleep in the back of my truck. I mean, I go on the cheap. That's for sure. But yeah, I've got all the same size totes in the back of my pickup, and I got 2 boards that spread out over top of that, and a fold-up mattress that it's memory foam and everything that folds up into thirds. It's 4 inches of memory foam, and the wife and I will spread out some sleeping bags. And I've got a tent that I set up when it's time to go, time to go to sleep. I set up my tent outside the truck, and everything that was on top of the bed goes in the tent. So if people want to mess with the truck because they think I'm in the tent sleeping, they're getting it backwards.
You don't take your van with you,
the shuttle bus?
Your shuttle bus? Or is that just your gold show rig?
It's pretty much just the gold. It's just for being able to hold a lot of stock at once. I imagine the shuttle bus would do just fine. It's a 1999 E350 with 2-ton shocks on it. But it's got a Triton V10 gasoline engine in it. So that Canadian fuel paid by a liter, it gets a little expensive.
Right. I've seen some nice rebuilds of those shuttle buses into RVs and stuff.
Oh yeah, I could do that. But the most important thing with that shuttle bus is being able to put a lot of
a lot of inventory in it. That's
absolutely.
When I saw you last time I saw you, and we went out to your
Indianapolis.
van.
Yep.
And was it Indy or
I think it was Indy.
Dayton?
Yeah, Indianapolis.
Well, I think that was the last time was Indianapolis.
Yeah,
we
and
helped you
last year was canceled,
Canceled, right?
or this.
Yeah, or else we could have gone to was it
Columbus.
Columbus, yeah. Yeah,
Well-
it was a shame. I was really looking forward to seeing everybody on the trip and getting to go play out in the dirt in everybody else's backyard.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on it. Yeah, I'm sure you miss being on the road and stuff, huh?
Oh
For the
yeah,
show circuit.
that's almost as bad a fever as gold fever.
I know we have a lot of fun at them.
Yeah, yeah,
Wandering lust.
yep. Yeah, it's in fact this year I almost didn't go to Nome, and finally I said, well, let me see what I can do here, and I had some miles that I had to use them or lose them on my airplane tickets, and I was like, there's enough to make it to Nome. I guess I'm going to Nome.
There you go.
Made it to Nome for $11.20.
I think it was the one at Springfield, Ohio.
Springfield?
Yeah,
Okay.
Emily Rydell was there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
She's a funny girl.
And she was a lot different than I was expecting.
Now, this year up in Nome, Emily came out to the camp there, AKAU, and someone talked her into singing her opera.
Oh.
Well, she sang Ave Maria and a couple other things. Oh my God, that woman has some pipes.
I've heard her sing. She's got some videos. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got
Yeah.
a
She's
YouTube
got-
channel of her singing.
Yeah, I didn't think the windows were going to take it. Yeah, she filled the room. That's for darn sure. But yeah, and then I had a chance to talk to Steve, her dad.
Yeah, Steve Rydell.
Yeah, yeah, Steve. He's an interesting character. He talked everything from things he's done when he used to work for FedEx and a lot of stuff with the kids growing up. So I got a better understanding.
Burned out old hippie.
Yeah, yeah.
I wondered if he was like he was on TV because he's a different person.
He is about the way he is. Just in case he watches this, he's a great guy.
Ray Russo says he's bat, poo, crazy.
There you go. Yeah, he's got some funny ways of doing things that he's not afraid to share.
Even
If
if you
you'd
don't
have turned my heat down, I'd have wrung your stinking neck when I come up out of that water. That's for dang sure.
Well, you know that was all staged.
Was
Of
it?
course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in fact, Cash Best, my friend I was talking about, and he works in the Gold Cube with me. Bo was the diver. That's his son. That's my friend's son. And Emily came up to Bo and says, "Hey, you know, we're gonna have to do this. We have to throw some drama in here, else we're not going to get any airtime." And Bo was like, "You promised me that we weren't going to do any drama." She says, "All you got to do is pretend like you're getting cold." But at no time was his heat turned off. So it was,
Lord.
It's that added drama from the producers.
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
That's TV.
Right.
That's
And if you want to get your share of airtime, you got
Got to
to
do something.
Right.
Yep, absolutely.
Otherwise, you're what's his name? Young, David Young. David Young, is it David Young? The paraplegic dredger out there.
That's George.
George Young, yes. You don't give them enough drama, they don't show you very much.
No, that's for sure. That's for
You
sure.
know? Yeah, they got to have their drama, otherwise your show's not worth it for them. That's the problem.
Not the producers, it's the viewers, guys. The viewers.
That's true. That's true. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
It-
I mean, they have to produce what the viewers want. That's
That's
bottom
right.
line. It's like last year. Last year I was on the Dave Turn's Lost Mines.
Oh,
I filmed up there with Dave Turn. That that big green bowl at the end of their sluice box.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's my other company.
No.
Yeah, gyrogold.com is that other company.
What is that?
It's a
It's a
big
big centrifugal
centrifuge.
bowl.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it'll handle about 50 yards an hour through that thing, and it'll get gold. Just about everything that the gold cube can catch, that big bowl will catch.
Cool.
So except that AU gold, yeah, the bowl is designed for placer and not just hard rock, where most bowls are designed for hard rock. This bowl that we have is actually able to handle 3/4 of an inch material and smaller. So it'll handle some pretty big stuff. But when I was on I filmed with Dave Turn and their whole crew. Of course, I've known Casey, the truck driver. I've known Casey and his wife Veronica and Wyatt.
Well, you know
So,
V and
yeah. Do you know when V found out she was pregnant with Wyatt? Do you know who she called first?
you?
She called me.
Really?
Her dad didn't even know about it before I did. And we were in Las Vegas, and I told V, I said, V, you look like you're pregnant. She goes, yeah, right. Ha 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 ha. She got home, found out she was pregnant, and she goes like, she had to call and tell me I was right.
Yeah, Casey seems like a really good man. So does Chris Taylor. We've
Yep.
had them on the show.
Right.
Would love to get Dave Turin on, but
Ask him. He may do it, but
I've
but
asked him.
when-
He never responds.
oh, okay.
You
All
know,
right.
so
yeah,
he may not. Yeah, he may not do these shows.
I don't think I've seen him doing any of these shows at all.
Yeah.
But it would be kind of cool. I'd love to talk to him about what he does.
Well, sometimes it's like Jeff Williams. I could message Jeff Williams 100 times and no reply. So I messaged Lila, and then she says something, and then I get to talk to him. Hey,
Yeah,
Jeff.
yeah. She's like the guard.
Right. She's the gatekeeper. You got to know
Right.
the proper gatekeeper.
Yeah. Well, he took my call this morning naked, so yeah, and you better put on some clothes.
Yeah. Yeah, he was on GPS Sunday.
Oh, is that right? Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was on there clowning.
He's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
fun to have on. He's been on a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And
This year I filmed with Gold Rush, the new guy Fred up there in Oregon.
Oh yeah.
Fred Lewis. So I was up there and I filmed with him for a week. So I don't know if I'm going to hit the cut room floor or not, but they're using the gold cube to supercon their concentrates out of their wash plant. So those guys, since they're just a bunch of wounded warriors, that they weren't miners in their previous life. One of them was, Caleb was, but the rest of them had no idea. So I went up there and taught them how to pan and all the concepts and everything. So I had fun up there.
Oh, that'd be a
That's
group
cool.
show.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm retired Air Force, so I'm a vet. So there you go. There you go. Yeah.
Love to have a group of those guys on here, especially greenhorns that are just starting out. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yep.
Make
Yeah.
that
So
make that happen, Mike.
I'll snap my fingers.
Yeah, you could whisper in Dave Turin's ear while you're at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind using you as a middleman.
There you go. Yeah. I'll see if now Dave he just may not do those things. I mean, he may not do it for any of them because then he thinks he may have to do all of them.
Well,
And
the thing that I tried to impress on him when I was writing to him
Yeah.
was that we don't want to talk about the show. You know, we don't want to talk about the show in particular. We want to talk about Dave Turin. We want Dave Turin to talk to us about Dave Turin.
Or
Not-
I wanna learn about the 10% rule, or I wanna learn about how to prospect or any of it. I want knowledge, not
Right.
drama.
Right.
Right. So
Rose
You
is
know-
brand new to prospecting, Mike. Last June was the first time she ever panned.
In my
and
life.
she's never been the same since.
No, I haven't. I've been hooked on. These guys got me totally hooked.
Hey, in this industry, gold digger is a good word.
Yeah, you're right. Nikki from Nikki's prospecting says, "I'm not a gold digger. I dig for gold."
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm a gold digger.
I dig dirt and hope to catch a little bit of gold.
Right. Yeah, see, you like it to be contaminated with a little bit of gold.
Oh, dude, I in my mind, I can see that first piece of gold I ever found out in the wild. I mean, I can in my mind, I know exactly what it looked like. You know, I don't think I have it anymore, but yeah, it definitely. And it
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I can see it too. And I thought, wow, it's kind of neat how that that gold shakes when you see it. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, that's me shaking.
Yeah. I mean, it was good that I had some practice because I think I went to Thermal City first, one of the first trips when I first started.
Yeah.
You know, so I got to learn what it looked like a little bit.
And how it acts, right?
And how it acts, right? And what it looks like in the pan and stuff, especially the tiny stuff, right? You know, what is and what isn't mica and stuff. But when I found, and that was fun, it was cool. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. But it wasn't like I paid for a pile of dirt. You know, like I might as well buy a bag, right?
Right.
But it wasn't until I actually went out and found a piece that had never been found before.
Yeah, you're the first one to lay his eyes on it.
Yeah, that's what triggered it for me. You know, oh man, you know, and that was always in the back of my mind. You know, I'll be the first one to ever see it. What do I think I have a question here from the. Oh, okay. Blue-footed Booby says he has the adoption papers.
He's got to learn how to pull a sleigh if he wants to be part of my team.
Yeah, with everything you have going on, sounds fun.
Early on, Jason asked about feeding 2 cubes with 1 trommel. I saw that in there. I just made a note of it. I think Kelly at Gold Fox actually made an adapter that fits 2 4-stack deluxes and 1 trommel that it all could be fed at one time.
Yeah.
So just so Jason's question didn't go unanswered, I saw that early on and just made a note of it. Yeah. So Jason, the goldfoxusa.com. You can get them there, or Gold Fox USA on Facebook or whatever. You can get a hold of them there.
And those are the 2 brothers that work with Fred Hurt, right?
Well, Kelly? No. Kelly's up in Montana. He's actually the Gold Fox actually makes the Gold Cube trommel.
Right.
It's the exact same Omni Fox trommel that he's got for sale, for sluice boxes.
Right.
But
I thought they were worked for on Gold Rush Whitewater for a little bit.
nope, that's a different company. Those guys are down in Texas.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
That's Henderson's. That's their last name. What's your last?
I don't know. I hadn't followed them. I knew they were there. I met them in Arizona
Right.
at one of the shows, and Fred was there, and they were there. So it
Okay.
was funny when Fred came up to my booth. I got a video of him operating the gold cube, and I walked up to him and says, "Fred, what the hell are you doing?" He goes, "That sounds like something I'd say to Dustin."
Hold on 1 second, please. Thank
Yep.
you for the super chat, Richard Davis.
Oh yeah, super chat.
For the $50 super chat. Thank you very
Richard,
much.
it's all right. You can be late. The only person that can't be late is ERRT.
Yeah. Ronald, if you're late, you get demerits. Richard, you can be as late as long as you want, but we do like seeing you here. So, thank you very much. Now, where were we?
Yeah, so I've got
Well-
a question from Patrick Moore. Speaking of reclamation and getting the toxic out, I see Harold and Mike got together. What do you think of his operation?
Harold and Mike.
You,
You,
Harold. I don't know what Harold. Engler? No.
I don't know.
I don't-
I've been hanging on to that one.
I don't know, Patrick. Help us out, buddy.
Little more
Harold
info.
J. Lasser.
Oh, Lassiter?
Oh, Jay Lesser, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Lesser. Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've just always known him as Jay. Yeah, Jay out there in Colorado, he's got what's called a toll mill, and that's what he's putting together, and it's going to be a closed loop system that nothing ever gets discharged back into nature again. So everything's going to be recirculated, recycled, and then he's going to take the ores from the customers and grind them, separate them, and give them a super concentrate. Everything else that's left behind, he has buyers for, either concrete companies or some of the slurries that have some more of the rare earth metals in them. I think there's like 28 rare earth metals. There's 17 of them that you can find in Colorado. But those rare earth metals then are going to be processed out of the slurry. So the muck that is such a hard problem getting rid of, somebody wants it. So that's one of the cool things that they're doing right there. So when we went and saw, go ahead.
What do they do with it? What do they do when they process it?
Once it gets down into a slime, a muck, it's broke down far enough that it's very easy for a chemical process to leach out individual rare earth metals. There's probably going to be enough of the super fine ground, 1,500 to 2,000 mesh gold left in that muck that the leaching process will actually remove that. So basically all that's going to happen there at the toll mill is it's all going to be set across the table to create your different zones of concentrates. And he's got 4 huge tables that 2 ball mills are going to be crushing. Now, so that's what's going to happen in there. Now, our bowl, the big centrifugal bowl, the big green bowl that we sell, is going to go after the crusher and before the ball mill. And the reason for that is because some of the ores that come in, their gold is going to be large enough that if it was allowed to go into the ball mill will steamroll it into a big flat pancake of gold that will ride across the water and you'll lose it.
Right.
Okay, so you have to remove the larger gold first. So it's all going to go through the centrifugal bowl, which is going to be able to capture all the gold down to about 250 mesh. And then everything from 250 mesh and smaller is going to go into, as well as the gravels, you know, the crushed rock that may or may not have gold in it. But if gold has been removed from the ore, the host rock, at that point, then it doesn't have to go into the ball mill. When it gets to the ball mill, it crushes it down into a slurry, a slime, and then that goes across the table. Then the table cons are separated and given back to the customer, and then everything else is processed either for the cement companies or landscaping or whatever. But none of it ever reaches the water system again. So
So he's in Idaho Springs, right?
yes, yeah, and he's right on Clear Creek.
Yeah. I know the building he restored.
Yeah,
I explored it when I lived there.
yeah, well, that's cool. Yeah, he found another old foundation that was buried under there.
Yeah.
That was probably prior to the building that you had seen. But there's some amazing stuff. In fact, we went up about 700 feet up the hill, and you may have seen a picture of me and him, and I'm holding a pan. It's, if you look on my Facebook, Mike Pung Facebook, you can see a picture of Harold and I, or Jay. But we're up in another layer of riverbank, which is 700 feet above the current river. And you can see all the round rocks. You can see it's a riverbed. So that upper bench has got some amazing gold in it.
Nice.
Nice. I could have sworn with your new venture, I saw a Jeff Williams video with it.
Yeah, yeah. And that video says something about there's millions of gold or something, like millions in gold on that hill or whatever. We went out
running a old tailings pile, right?
Yes, that big mound that he said there's millions there, that is a tailings pile. It's not a workings pile, it's tailings. And one of the cool things that we found out when we're running that is we had, if you watch the video, you see we got some pretty chunky gold in there. All the gold was in 16 mesh and bigger, or 200 mesh and smaller. And everything from 200 mesh up to 16 mesh was gone. So what that told me was, since it was a wet operation and they had to bring water 8 miles into that operation to be able to run it there.
So the bigger stuff they classified off and the smaller stuff blew through.
Exactly. So their targeted area they did very well with. And so again, the golden rule, if everything's the same size, gold rules.
Right.
So that's basically what was happening. They got rid of most of the material by classifying it down, targeted the largest percentage of the gold at a sacrifice of some of the bigger stuff. So that's just what they did, because anytime you're running dirt, that dirt has to get wet first before it can turn into a slurry. So, and then it leaves wet. So it consumes water that is precious out there, because they had an 8-inch pipe running water 8 miles. And so they had to preserve that water. So they just went down into the zone, what I call the pay size. That's the size that's going to pay most of the bills at the end of the day. So their pay size was 16 minus.
That's the most efficient size to get for your equipment.
Well, for their equipment, they did a real good job, and since they didn't have big stuff in there, they could take a lot more care. Remember what I was saying, when you're out prospecting and you find gold, you don't just look for the amount of gold you have. You look for the size, you look for the shape, and then you run your equipment. You don't have to have all kinds of special equipment. you got to treat your equipment special. You got to make it to where your equipment is performing to match the gold that you have available to you. And you have to
Right.
look at your pay size. Because if you've got an occasional nugget that's going to be like 1 gram, and you're going to try to run 5 times more material to get that 1 gram, and you just wasted 5 or 6 grams of small stuff that blew out because you're running too hard.
Right, because you're running for the bigger stuff and not the smaller stuff.
Exactly. You gotta match your pay size to your operation. So that's what they did there, and that was kind of neat. But we had a lot of fun playing with Jeff Williams on that bowl. I actually put him to work. I had him jump in the bowl and adjust the new fingers on there because originally we had just regular steel with hard face to agitate underneath the rings, and I got some AR 500 abrasion resisted steel that we fingers to put on there. So I had him in there with a wrench and everything. He says, "I didn't know I was going to have to turn a wrench." He says, "Like old times, huh?" Yeah, but it was pretty hot. That day that he went out there, well, actually the next day it got the hottest. It was 110 degrees that next day. But it was pretty rough out there, right around the 4th of July area.
So have you done much metal detecting?
I've been doing a lot more metal detecting lately. Well, when you get the GPZ 7000, it kind of gives you the itch pretty deep.
Yeah.
But I just came back from North Carolina. I was out there with Tim Fisher. He's the owner of Eastern Outdoor Expeditions, and I went out there with 2 things in mind: doing a little gold prospecting with a metal detector and getting some shark's teeth, some megalodon shark's teeth.
Yeah,
So
That'd be cool.
Oh yeah. So we got out there, and then while we were out there, guess who shows up? Debbie Simkowski. So she came out, and she's the mine lab lady.
Yeah.
So Debbie came out, and we had a blast out there, and so we did some metal detecting around some old plantation houses out there. Found some cool stuff around those. I found a 2.4 gram nugget on an old tailing pile from the 1800s. Tim actually found a wooden hull bucket line dredge buried in his property.
Yeah, I've been talking to Tim and Ross about coming on.
Yeah. I tell you what, you probably need subtitles with their accent, but
yeah, I've watched their videos, but I like their do-it-yourself attitude. You know, their trommel and that lift they have at the mine.
Yeah.
But
Mike, got a question for you.
Yeah.
From TR. TR says he has a 4-stack cube and trommel. Do you see any need to use the trommel on Lake Superior?
And since
No.
you mine the Great Lakes all the time, or every year, isn't it?
Yeah, I go up there for a family reunion every year. So we do the family reunion. Christmas in July is what we do down in Gaylord, Michigan. And then that following week, we go up to Lake Superior to play on the beach and mine. Okay, on the beach, the problem is everything on the beach that you're going to be running is probably 50 mesh and smaller.
No.
And if you put a trommel on there, everything's going to go through the trommel at once, and immediately you've got a surge of way too much material, which is extremely heavy, and you will clog up your cube. So the trommel does not work very well. Okay, unless you just baby spoon feed the trommel. But then
might as well just sit there and pan then, huh?
Oh no, not pan. Just take the trommel off and just feed the cube itself. Okay, so
Yeah.
what I do, I use the gold banker on the beach. If I've got sand, I use a gold banker, and what I'll do is I'll actually take the gold banker and make it almost flat, almost no lift whatsoever.
Right. Just water pushing.
Right, and then I put a shovel load on top of the gold banker, and it clogs it up. But the water running over top of that dirt acts like a feeder. So I can walk away from it and it'll still be feeding at a very nice pace. If I'm not feeding it enough, I just steepen it up a little bit. If I'm feeding
Right.
it too much, I flatten it out more. So I can use a gold banker as a controllable feed unit that will make it to where my gold cube is going to be working optimally without surges and without starvation.
So I want to go up there. I want to try to make it up there this year, sometime this spring or summer.
Yeah.
So what and I know that when you were first developing the cube, you were running into some problems about being able to mine on the beach and stuff. So since then, regulations have changed, and from what I understand, you're part of that change. Can you
Yes.
explain what those regulations are?
Yes. Originally, when I went up there and found that gold, they didn't know that there was gold on there. They didn't know if I could or couldn't prospect on the beach. And I actually got what was called a joint permit. And a joint permit, it takes the landowner, which is the park ranger himself,
Right.
and because he's responsible for the minerals. It takes the Army Corps of Engineers, and it takes the environmental quality, the EPA. So all three of those have to sign off, and then I actually got a mining permit for that beach, but only a certain part of the beach. I had to say how much I was going to be on, and I also had to tell them how much material I was going to move in a year. So it's all part of the processing thing. At that point, I could actually run an engine and pull water from the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I remember that was part of the problem. You weren't allowed to use motors down there, and not even electric to pump water.
Well, here's what happened. I noticed that people were trying to do that, and they didn't have a permit, and I constantly had to tell people, no, you got to go through this permit, yada yada yada. It was a big pain in the butt, so I let my permit go. I just let it go, and I started doing everything recirculating. I've been in contact with every ranger that's up there who's been in charge or stepped in next, the next one in charge or whatever. And I keep a good relationship, and a lot of mining is all about relationships.
Right.
So I kept a good relationship up there, and I said, if you ever have any questions, ever need any clarification or anything, feel free to call me, and they do. And so during my mining permit acquisition, I made friends with some of the people in the state. So I made some really good contacts. So I was able to talk to many people to help things stay moving.
Right.
So 10 years ago, this is in, let me think. Oh gosh, it was 12 years ago, 11 or 12 years ago. Anyway, when I first started mining in there, and realizing that the gasoline and all that stuff was going to be a problem, I gave them a idea of what I thought would work, that everybody could live by, and it would protect the beach goers. That's the main purpose of the beach.
Right.
And protect the minerals, protect the miners. And I said, I think this is going to be a good set of rules. And basically it was, you can't pump out of the water. You can't pump out of the lake. You have to bucket it out. So we're not going to have any hoses strewn all over the place for people to trip on, because there's a lot of people going up and down the beach looking for rocks, because there's a lot of pretty rocks up there.
Right.
So that keeps you out of the way. You cannot set up in the normal flow of traffic, which is, there's no good dirt down there anyway. It's all up on the high part of the beach where the waves have taken away the blonde sands and left the black sands behind. Okay, so that was an easy one. Nobody's going to want to be down by the beach anyway. You can't pump or down by the water. So going up to, going up where you're working was the best way to do it. And the only real way to work up there is recirculating. So recirculating with battery devices only. So there's no gas and oil and diesel and any of that other stuff that could
So
be
it's a
there.
lot like Cape Disappointment.
It is. It is. I think on Cape Disappointment they can actually use gasoline generators now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for their
Because
power.
yeah,
the
because
power their
like electric pumps and stuff like that, right? But so recently though, somebody went up and you're always going to have that one idiot go up there and press his luck and say, the people from the park says, you're way too big down here. You got way too much stuff. You're not supposed to have an ATV down here. You're not supposed to have a fire. You're not supposed to this, not to that. And so, and the guy says, well, show me the rules. Well, there weren't any rules. It was just understandings.
Right.
So they immediately said, okay, the new rule is
hang on,
there's
let me
no-
write them out here for you.
Yeah.
Rules.
yeah. So the park, because he was being such an idiot and was actually being very, they feared repercussions from him.
Wow.
Because he was even packing. You're not even supposed to pack a weapon on state land.
Oh, really?
In Michigan, right? So he in a state park. So he was packing and everything. So they said, no, you have to leave. The new rule is what you're doing right here is not allowed. That's all there is for the rules. And so what they did is they actually had that rule. Since there are no rules spelled out for this activity, the rule is you cannot remove black sand, so you can't fill your truck with black sand, and you cannot remove gold from the beach, period. All right, so that's what happened. And so then I got called. The state GPAA, Nick, he calls me and he goes, Mike, we got a problem. I said, all right, let me see what I can do. I'm on it. So it went 2 months for them to finally get the rules in place and make it happen. Actually, I had them agree to the new rules about 2 weeks after all this came about, and then it just went all year. And then finally, before the 2 months before the season was supposed to open up, they still hadn't done anything. So I started stepping on toes and got my way. But so basically is I spelled out the size of the amount of water that you could retain, which is 75 gallons. Nobody wants to pack 75 gallons. I said the size of the sluice box, which is like 465 square inches. So
Right.
if you've got 1 foot by 4 foot, or if you've got 6 inches by 8 feet or whatever, it's the square inches of collection surface, not the slick plate, none of that stuff. It's just collection surface. I spelled out that you can't pump water, you have to bucket it. I spelled out the height of the hole, of the pile in the hole, so you can't have a hole left any deeper than a foot. You can't have a mound of sand any higher than a foot. In other words, if a kid was building a sandcastle, that's all the more impact you can make on the beach.
Okay.
So so I made it, and I spelled out why I did all these things, and they accepted them 100%. It's like, if this is all we got to do and you guys are happy with it, then we're happy with it. So
you stroked them pretty good, huh?
yeah, yes, I did. I made their job easy for them, and they appreciated it for me.
Well, that's better than the previous regulation where none of it was allowed.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, I guess it would be cool to be able to have a gas pump out there and be able to just, do some dry dredging, but then you're talking about a state property and,
Right. Yeah,
and a bunch of people be able to go out there and do a little bit of prospecting and mining, then, nobody. Right.
And I've had a bunch of people, like, when they find out that I'm going to be up there, they'll go up there. And as another thing, when I was stating my case to the park, I told them, I says, how much more revenue have you gotten because of miners? And they go like, oh, a bunch. I said, so a lot of these improvements that you've done to the park, you would not have been able to afford without the miners. I said, we are here as good stewards of the park, and we appreciate the park. And I said, we just want you to appreciate us too.
Right. And, you know, and the way you did the regulations, in reality, nothing we do is going to damage that. You know, individuals like us going out there for a weekend and just digging dirt, we're not going to do as much damage as a good storm coming in onto that beach will do, you know?
No, in fact, they've had 30-foot waves there, and we'd have been 30 feet underwater, you know?
So the little bit of material movement that we make doing that is really nothing. You know?
Right. And
But
one of
it
the most important thing out there, yeah, the most important thing out there was public safety.
Right.
And since it's not a federal mining claim, it belongs to the state, and the state
Right.
owns the minerals. I had to do everything I could to stay within their rules and laws and feel goods, and get as much for the miners we could possibly get.
Right.
And,
You know, maybe after a while of miners going up there and they're seeing, you know, how much revenue they're bringing in, how little damage they're actually doing, maybe they'll go, you know what, maybe we can let them do a little more. Maybe go ahead and, you know, run some pumps or whatever. You know, run a gas like the gas generators, you know, but that will come in time. Sure.
yeah, after a while, it gets to be extremely noisy, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
the people there are there to enjoy the wilderness.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, you are in a park, a state park.
Right, right. So you have to respect where we are,
right,
and whose backyard, and so it all really comes down to respect, and then they respect us back. And I tell you what, one of the funnest things that happens every time I go up to Lake Superior is I'll come home to my camping trailer, and there'll be a note on my door from somebody, some kid's parents, saying how much they appreciated the time we spent with their kids, how much of an education we gave them about the mining and fun. And I always carry a dozen vials or so with me, and I'll, if the kid's getting some gold, I'll put his specks of gold in a vial, and I'll send him home with it. And
that is such the greatest feeling.
It is. It's amazing. And now a miner is a good thing to that child, and that's the type of thing that we need growing up with that type of mindset.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of like how. Sorry, Jesse.
One of the things that I ask of the YouTubers when they come on here and people like you is show the garbage you clean up sometimes in your videos.
Absolutely.
Show, you know, let people see, look, here, we're taking this out. This is what we found on the beach. We're taking it out with us. You know, that helps too.
Yeah, I have our miners actually take the garbage up to the check-in station. You know, where the campers check in.
Right.
And then throw their garbage away all the way up there and say that this was picked up off the beach by us prospectors.
When I'm back home in Washington, Mike, I pick up usually a couple bags of trash out in the woods and stuff, or out along the rivers.
Right.
And I take it to the ranger station and ask, can I use your dumpster? I was out in the woods, out in the national forest, and I picked this up while I was out gold prospecting. And they're like, wow, really? Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. It's like, oh, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
And we don't see that
there to eat.
So next time you do a video, throw something like that in there and give me a shout out.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is Jesse's garbage.
I had to pick up after him.
But I think it's important that us being stewards of the land, that I think that we should also include that in our videos whenever we can, you know.
Oh yeah.
For those people that just, you know, because a lot of people find us just by let me watch something, you know, oh, what's this?
Yeah,
And
the
then,
next suggested video, yeah.
right. And then you show them what, the gold and the trash.
Yeah, if you're gonna get the next generation interested, get them interested in the cleanup as well. Get them interested all the way around. So
Right.
bring it all the way around.
So,
Yeah, the whole process and
Yep.
why we are who we are.
right.
And after all of us, we're all ambassadors to our lifestyle, our hobby, or what we do, our passion. Yeah.
When we do a demo, we show our trash. We show the kids the trash we pull out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We bring our trash to the demo station.
Pour
all
it
the time.
into a panning tub.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
An empty one, of course.
Right.
And they're like,
It's really cool because they don't realize how much garbage there really is in there. And they don't understand even that little pop can they left by the tree will wind up in the river at some point.
Piss off some metal detector guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too.
Yep.
20 years from now. Ooh, I think I got some gold. Oh, can. So yeah, I just like to encourage all YouTubers to do that. Especially in this community, we need to overcome the commercial media on that because they don't show any of that. It's boring. We know it's boring.
Right.
But it's still important.
well, and the scissor bills, as Buzzard would say, or the enviro Nazis, they
Right.
skew what we do way out of proportion too. And dude, not to knock any fishermen out there or anything, but I pick up a lot of fishermen's trash.
Yeah, it's the fishermen aren't bad. It's the bad fishermen that are bad.
That's
Right.
true. And there's bad prospectors and small scale miners. There's bad
Right.
in everybody and every lifestyle. But the better ambassadors we are, the better for what we enjoy, and they won't take it away. Like
Right.
Right.
That'll help in our preservation.
I know out west, like in Washington, Crown Pacific Warehouser property and stuff, they get tax breaks for allowing public use. But if you abuse their land, they'll close it up. They'll say, we'll eat the taxes and we'll close the land because
Right.
it isn't
Just like a
worth it.
Just like a private permission,
Right. We don't like what you're doing. You're not being good stewards. We'll just take away that privilege altogether. And even though public lands is public lands, it's supposed to be our land. They use that excuse the BLM does, U.S. Forest Service does, to shut off areas to the public. And the more we show them that we're good stewards of the land and good ambassadors of what we do, the better it is for the whole community in whole.
I agree.
Mike's just
absolutely.
So
Mike's
we're
just
into overtime now, Ed.
overtime. And Ray Rousson, thank you very much for the $5
Ray.
super chat, brother.
I think he might have liked the show tonight. What do you think?
Well,
think
he
so.
thinks I live in red behind there. He thinks I'm Santa Claus. Don't tell Ray I'm not Santa Claus.
Okay.
We have good Santa and bad Santa in the house tonight.
I was in Walmart the other day, and the kid comes up and he goes, "You're not Santa." I said, and his mom was right behind him, and she went just with lips. She says, "Danny," you know. So I looked at him. I says, "Well, Danny, are you willing to take a chance on that?" And he looked at me. He goes, "No, sir."
That's cool. Awesome,
You don't want to
awesome.
be on the naughty list now, do you?
No.
Danny?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, could you imagine? He pulled out a piece of paper and a pencil? Danny. Let's turn this list. Hmm. What do
Oh
you think,
man.
Danny? This side or that side? That would have freaked him out.
That's funny.
Yeah, but I'm so glad his mom told me his name, because that just sealed the deal right
that
there.
sealed it. That sealed it. He's gonna be a Santa Claus believer all his life.
Yes, I met him at Walmart.
Back at Walmart, right?
He was buying pencils.
That's funny. Oh, I appreciate you coming back and joining us again, Mike. I missed seeing you this year at the Gold Show.
Yep.
Hopefully,
Yeah, I miss seeing everybody.
Oh, wait, Ed, before we say goodnight, Mike, gotta tell a joke.
Oh yeah. I was gonna ask him, Jesse.
Gotta tell a joke.
I was gonna ask him for one of his crazy minor dad jokes. Before we left, he could sign us out with that.
Well, the one that I like the most, which I tell at every single show, the GPAA show, and it's funny. It's certain parts of the country will catch it faster than other parts of the country. You'll see why. It's
weren't you surprised how fast I caught it?
Yeah. Yeah. So the one of them is not really actually a minor joke. It was about a magician. It was a Hispanic magician, and his only trick was he could make himself disappear at the count of 3. So he went uno, dos, poof, and he disappeared without a trace.
It took her a few seconds.
Yeah, you got to think trace 3. Oh, but my favorite minor joke is what chord does a piano strike when you throw it down a mine shaft? It's A flat minor.
Rose, that's the reaction he gets every time. But he sings in the crowd, goes.
As long as you laugh, that's what matters.
Yeah. I enjoy it every time. That's all that's important to me.
Right.
Yeah, and it's amazing. I can hold my laughter in telling the joke because I know the punchline.
Right.
Oh.
All right, guys.
It's been a pleasure, dude. I'm glad we got to talk to you again. It's been a while.
Definitely,
Can't wait
Mike.
to see you again.
Can't wait for the gold shows to come around so we
Yeah.
can all see everybody again.
That's right.
Oh, you bet. And maybe even make it up to Lake Superior sometime.
I'm generally there the first week in August.
Awesome.
First
Awesome.
week in
Just
August.
keep track of my my personal page, Mike Pung, on Facebook, and I usually say when I'm going to be there. A few weeks before I'm ready to go, but it's generally the first week in August. Sometimes it's into the last week of July, into the first week of August, but it just depends on what the family wants to do and when they want to get together. So,
Right. And don't forget, you're always invited to Gold Rush Days in Ohio on Labor Day in September.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But
It's
usually by that
That's a
time,
good time.
it's a good time to be in Alaska too.
Right. Right.
Okay.
I'd take Alaska over Ohio Gold Rush Days.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I bet you the mosquitoes are bigger up there, though.
Oh yeah.
So is the
I
goal.
hear they can fly
Yeah,
off with
exactly.
you.
Yeah.
Again, thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate you joining us. Always have a great time talking to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me on, and we'll do it again.
And remember, when you make the bucket cube, you still have my address, I think, don't you?
I'm pretty sure I do. I don't throw anything away. Ask my wife.
And speaking of your wife, tell her hi for us. And
Yeah.
tell her we'll see her next year, hopefully at the Gold Show.
Yeah, if anybody calls the 800 number, it's 800-649-0256, and talk to that pretty voice on the telephone there. That's my wife, Pam.
Yeah, great
Very
gal,
cool.
great gal. Everybody, all the channel members and website members and what Patreons are left. There's a link below for the Flash Fam members group, Flash Fam members only group on Facebook. Please come and join. Also, you can now catch us while you're working or driving, whatever, a replay at Anchor, Spotify, like 4 other places. But the link for the Anchor site for our podcast is down below also. Everybody, thank you very much for joining us tonight for another Tuesday night Hangout Live and enjoying our time with Mike Pun and the rest of the Flash Fam crew here. Until next week, next week we're having another gear inventor, manufacturer, Alan Trees from Gold Grabber. Was the inventor of the Gold Grabber dredge, high banker, gold pan, rocker box. He'll be on next Tuesday night. Should be a really good show. And until then, may you always have a flash in your pan.
And you know what he's going to say next.
That's right, Jesse, because ask Rose and Otis and Damon. It happens. Maybe
And
one day
Bryan.
too, we'll meet you on the river. That's right, Jesse and Bryan. Good night, everybody. God bless.
All right, folks.
Stay safe
Night,
out
everybody.
there.
Bye, Ed. Bye, Dano.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Good night, Moto. Good night, Lee. Ottis, good night.
Jeff,
Dave.
Good
Ottis,
night.
Thomas, Ducky Thomas.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.